Why the first $25,000 in your bank account feels completely different from any money you've ever saved before? When you save your first $1,000, it feels like a nice little achievement. But deep down inside, you know the harsh reality. One bad break, one car breakdown, or a single unexpected medical bill, and that $1,000 is completely wiped out. You are right back at zero. When you reach $5,000, you get a slight breather. You feel a bit safer, but you are still walking on a financial tightrope. You're still living with the quiet, lingering anxiety that a major job loss or economic crisis could bring your entire life crashing down. But when your savings or net worth hits $25,000, something inside your brain fundamentally changes. You don't just have more digits in your bank balance, you literally think differently. Your relationship with risk changes. Your confidence at your job changes. The way you look at monthly expenses, time, and personal freedom undergoes a massive psychological shift. You stop looking at money as something you just use to pay bills and buy things, and you start seeing it as a tool for leverage and independence. In this video, we are breaking down the wealth psychology behind reaching $25,000. We will explore why this specific dollar amount acts as a psychological breaking point between panic and power, the 5 deep mental shifts that happen automatically once you cross it, the dangerous psychological traps that destroy people right after they reach this milestone, how to use $25,000 as a launching pad to build true long-term financial freedom. If you want to understand how money actually changes your mindset, stick around until the very end. Let's dive in. Part 2. The breaking point, survival versus stability. To understand why $25,000 creates such a powerful shift, we first have to look at the human brain under financial stress. Psychologists call this concept bandwidth poverty. When you have very little money saved, say under $3,000 or $5,000, your brain operates in a constant state of short-term survival mode. Your cognitive capacity is consumed by daily micropanics. Can I afford rent at the end of the month? What if my phone breaks tomorrow? Can I buy groceries this week without maxing out my credit card? When your brain is forced to focus on surviving today, it physically lacks the mental bandwidth to plan for 5 or 10 years from now. You cannot think about investing, starting a business, or switching careers when you are worried about next Tuesday's bills. Scarcity forces your focus to shrink. You become reactive instead of proactive. Entering the $25,000 buffer zone now, why $25,000? Why not $10,000 or $100,000? For the average household, $25,000 represents approximately 6 to 12 months of core living expenses, covering rent, food, utilities, and basic necessities. When you cross the $25,000 threshold, your primitive brain finally receives a signal that it hasn't felt in a very long time: absolute safety. For the first time in your adult life, your brain recognizes that even if you lose your job today, even if your company goes under tomorrow, or even if the economy hits a recession, you will be completely fine for an entire year. You won't end up on the street. You won't starve. This safety net completely mutes the background noise of financial anxiety. And when that noise stops, your brain regains its cognitive bandwidth. You move out of defensive living, where you are constantly dodging financial hits, and you step into offensive living, where you start playing to win. Part 3. The 5 psychological shifts at $25,000. Let's break down the 5 major psychological transformations that occur once you have $25,000 sitting in your accounts. Shift 1. You unlock the first level of fuck you money. In the financial world, there's a famous phrase popularized by author J.L. Collins: fuck you money. When you have zero savings, you are essentially a hostage to your job. If your boss is toxic, if your working hours are unreasonable, or if you are asked to do something unethical, you have to swallow your pride and take it. Why? Because you need that next paycheck to pay rent in 2 weeks. Desperation forces compliance. At $25,000, you gain your very first taste of true leverage. Now, this doesn't mean you walk into your boss's office tomorrow, throw your keyboard across the room, and quit on the spot. That's reckless. What it does mean is that your internal energy shifts. You no longer negotiate from a place of fear. You can ask for a well-deserved raise or promotion with genuine confidence. If a workplace becomes truly toxic, You have the power to walk away and take 3 months to find a job that actually respects you. Ironically, when you stop acting desperate at work, people respect you more. You take smarter risks, you voice your real opinions, and managers notice that quiet confidence. Having $25,000 in reserve often leads to faster promotions, simply because you no longer act like a captive worker. Shift 2. Your time horizon expands exponentially. The amount of money you have directly controls how far into the future you can mentally see. Broke. Planning horizon equals 1 day to 1 week, $1,000 saved. Planning horizon equals 1 month, $5,000 saved. Planning horizon equals 3 to 6 months, $25,000 saved. Planning horizon equals 3 to 5 years. When you aren't worried about immediate survival, your brain naturally starts asking long-term strategic questions. Where do I want my career to be in 3 years? Should I take 6 months to learn coding, digital marketing, or high-value skills to double my income? How can I start putting money into index funds or real estate to build passive income? You transition from asking, how do I survive this month, to asking, how do I design my next decade? This shift in time horizon is the exact moment a person transitions from poverty psychology to wealth psychology. Shift 3. You stop seeing money as cash and start seeing it as workers. When people are struggling financially, they view money through a purely transactional lens. To them, money is just a voucher you trade for goods and services, a phone, a pair of shoes, a car payment, or dinner out. Once you hold $25,000 in cash, you inevitably realize a painful truth. Leaving $25,000 sitting in a standard bank account means losing money every single day to inflation. At this point, your brain completes a massive mental leap. You stop looking at $25,000 as cash to spend and start looking at it as an army of financial workers. If you take that $25,000 and invest it in a standard broad market index fund returning an average of 8% to 10% per year, that money generates around $2,000 to $2,500 every year without you lifting a finger. That is $2,000 of passive income earned while you sleep. Suddenly you realize that your money can work harder than you can. You move away from trading time for money and begin using money to buy back your time. Shift 4. The need for fake status completely evaporates. There is a huge difference between looking rich and being wealthy. People who are insecure about their financial situation often use material items, luxury clothes, expensive leased cars, flashier watches, as a shield. They use status symbols to signal to the world that they are doing well, even if their bank account is sitting at $200. Reaching $25,000 creates a quiet, internal security. You no longer feel the need to prove anything to strangers on the internet or colleagues at work. You realize that true wealth is what you don't see. Wealth is the $25,000 in your account that nobody knows about. Wealth is the ability to sleep peacefully at night without debt stress. Wealth is the freedom to take a day off whenever you feel burned out. Once you experience real financial security, buying overpriced designer items to impress people you don't even like starts to look absurd. Your consumption habits naturally become minimalist and intentional. Shift 5. The compounding momentum effect takes over. Here is a truth that very few people talk about. Going from $0 to $25,000 is the hardest, most painful part of your entire financial journey. Why? Because when you start at $0, 100% of the effort comes from your manual labor. You have to sacrifice, cut back expenses, work overtime, and fight your own habits every single day just to stack those first few thousands. It feels like pushing a heavy boulder up a steep hill. But once you cross $25,000, two magical things happen. Your financial habits are hardwired. You have already proven to yourself that you can budget, delay gratification, and manage money. The discipline is now part of your identity. Compound interest. Kickstarts. Your money starts helping you push the boulder. Going from $25,000 to $50,000 feels twice as fast and half as difficult as going from $0 to $25,000. The momentum has shifted in your favor. You are no longer running against the wind, you have the wind at your back. Part 4. The 3 dangerous traps at $25,000. Now, reaching $25,000 is a massive milestone, but it is also a psychological danger zone. Many people hit this exact number, drop their guard, and make critical mistakes that reset their progress back to square one. Here are the 3 traps you must avoid when you reach $25,000. Trap 1. The I'm rich illusion, lifestyle creep. When your bank account balance hits $25,000, your brain gets a sudden dopamine hit. If you aren't careful, you will start telling yourself, hey, I'm doing great. I have $25,000. I can afford that $500 per month car payment now. I can afford luxury vacations. This is called lifestyle creep. You upgrade your lifestyle to match your savings, effectively resetting your safety net. Remind yourself $25,000 is a rock-solid foundation, but it is not the finish line. Don't spend like a millionaire when you've just built your emergency cushion. Trap 2, the cash hoarding trap, analysis paralysis. On the opposite extreme, some people become so addicted to seeing that $25,000 balance in their checking account that they become terrified of investing a single dollar. They leave $25,000 sitting in a traditional savings account, earning 0.01% interest. Over 5 years, inflation quietly erodes 10% to 15% of their purchasing power. Understanding wealth psychology means realizing that cash is for protection, but assets are for growth. Holding too much idle cash is just as dangerous long-term as spending it recklessly. Trap 3, the high-risk gambling trap. Once people hit $25,000, they often feel financially invincible. They think, I built $25,000, now I want to turn it into $250,000 fast. They fall victim to get-rich-quick schemes, speculative meme coins, options trading, or high-risk investments without doing proper research. They gamble away $10,000 or $15,000 overnight because they fell into the trap of impatience. Building wealth is supposed to be boring, consistent, and methodical. If an investment promises fast, effortless returns, it's not an investment, it's a gamble. Part 5. Action Plan. What to do once you reach $25,000. If you are currently working toward $25,000, or if you have already crossed this milestone, here is the exact 4-step action plan you should execute to maximize this psychology and turn it into real wealth. Step 1. Separate your emergency cushion from your growth capital. Never keep all your money in one primary bank account. Create a clear psychological distinction, the safety vault. Place 3 to 6 months' worth of basic living expenses, for example, $10,000 to $15,000, into a high-yield savings account, HYSA. This money is non-touchable. It exists purely for peace of mind, unexpected emergencies, and life stability. The growth engine. Whatever is left over above your emergency buffer becomes your growth capital. This money is deployed into long-term wealth-building assets. Step 2. Automate your wealth creation. Willpower fails, but systems endure. Do not rely on your daily discipline to invest every month. Set up automatic transfers on the day you get paid. Have a fixed percentage of your income move automatically from your checking account straight into broad market index funds like S&P 500 or Total World Stock ETFs. When investment happens automatically, you eliminate emotional decision-making entirely. Step 3. Invest in high ROI personal assets. Once your basic survival safety is locked in, the highest return on investment, ROI, you can ever get isn't from the stock market. It's from increasing your own earning capacity. Use a portion of your capital to invest in acquiring high-value skills, data analysis, software development, sales, copywriting, marketing, buying specialized courses, attending industry conferences, or hiring mentors, improving your physical health, energy levels, and mental performance. If a $1,000 course helps you gain a skill that increases your salary by $10,000 a year, that is a 1,000% return on investment in year 1 alone. Step 4. Protect your energy and focus. Now that you have buying power and psychological freedom, start eliminating low-value distractions from your life. Use your financial safety to build a calm, focused environment where you can think clearly, work deeply, and build long-term relationships with people who inspire you. At the end of the day, reaching $25,000 in savings isn't really about the dollar amount itself. It is proof of something much deeper. It is proof that you have conquered short-term impulses, that you have mastered self-discipline, and that you have developed the ability to prioritize your future self over temporary pleasures. Money is not just a tool to buy material possessions. True money is freedom. It is the ability to wake up in the morning and know that you own your time, you control your decisions, and you dictate your future direction. If you are currently on the path to saving your first $25,000, keep going. Ignore the noise, stay disciplined through the slow beginnings, and trust the process. The peace of mind, confidence, and psychological clarity waiting for you on the other side is worth every single sacrifice you make today. What financial milestone are you currently grinding for right now? Are you working toward your first $5,000, $25,000, or $100,000? Drop your goals in the comments below. I read and reply to as many as I can. If you found value in this deep dive into wealth psychology, hit that like button, share this video with someone who needs to hear this, and hit subscribe with notifications turned on so you don't miss our next video.